Hello and welcome to Business Spotlight, where today we are joined by Sophie from the Parlor. Sophie, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so good. We were just saying how hot it was, but no complaints because the sun is shining.
That's right. We never complain. We enjoy it.
No, we enjoy it. We enjoy it absolutely, even though we're sweating. But let's dive in. I never hang around. Tell me. I cannot wait actually with a business name like the Pond Parlor. Tell us what you do and how long you've been doing it for, please.
Okay. So the Pom Parlor is a digital branding agency, and we specialize in websites, branding, and social media. And we specifically help the beauty industry purely because I wanted to empower women to take control of the business side of their companies that they start and to really get a good understanding of what it is they needed to do.
Amazing.
Sure.
I never would have guessed by the company name. That's absolutely wonderful that you've that your passion is to empower other women in business. Tell me, how long have you been doing it for?
So the Pom Parlor has been running for about 3 years, but I come from a marketing and advertising background, so I feel like I've been doing this all my life.
Oil I love it. So you're using your skills to impact others. So you come from a background of marketing. Tell me what motivated you to start the business.
So I did many different areas of marketing, and what I realized was that I was touching on every single area, and I was seeing the value of how they all work together. But I realized that they all didn't speak to each other, which is sometimes could be the downfall of a brand. And one time I was in a meeting and I saw this incredible woman. I've never seen a stunning, beautiful woman like that in my life in the middle of London having a meeting because I'm used to all these board meetings just being all dreary. And she was just amazing. And I was starstruck by her. And after the meeting, I literally ran over, fell over myself, running over to her. And I was like, "What do you do?" And she was like, "Oh, I do fillers and Botox." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, where?" And then she showed me where she does it. And she showed me around her clinic. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." And then I saw the adverts that had been created for her and I instantly deflated. And I was just like, that doesn't match. It doesn't match. The brand doesn't match. And she couldn't wrap her head around why her brand wasn't being told in the right way online. Um, and, unfortunately, sometimes it's just because it just didn't have a woman's touch. So none of the people who are creating these adverts or these websites or the social media for her had ever stepped into a clinic. So none of them had any idea of how to sort of translate that experience online. And I just thought from there, this is it. This is what I want to do. Sounds fab. Let's do it. That's it.
Yeah, pieces come together. Isn't it curious how situations and scenarios occur that are life-changing? So you spotted her from the other side of the room, and were drawn to her, and then that conversation has created
A whole
your
business.
your whole business. Really important point that you made there, that perception is everything, isn't it? And
Absolutely.
when you see somebody that is striking, and then the first thing we do, and I shall use the word stalk, the first thing we do is like, oh my God, we go online and then we think, oh, that doesn't match. How important is it that it matches, that it's congruent?
It's so important because your brand is your experience for your customers or clients. They want to experience you in every aspect. So even something as simple as a business card can often turn people away from connecting with you because it's not what they thought they were going to receive. And when people it's like when you book a all-inclusive hotel holiday and you experience this like incredible luxury travel there, and you get to the hotel and you go, "Oh, not quite what I thought it would be." Um, Experience is everything, and it's something that often gets missed, especially for women. We really find it hard to translate ourselves online without coming across too far over the line or too boring or too corporate. And
Mm.
really trying to find that balance was something that I just realized nobody was able to do. And for me, it kind of made sense because I just always played it like a J'adore advert. And I was saying to everyone, just think Chanel. When you're doing anything, think Chanel. And they would go to me, what does that mean? I was like, high end. It just always means high end. Anything glam, just think that and make an advert from it. And I think a lot of people, when you try and explain that to them, they don't get it. So we quickly moved into website development, which is something I was learning whilst I was on maternity leave with my son.
Yeah.
And then I went into social media, just making little clips, little videos, because I just saw people sort of doing these treatments. And then I saw like the incredible makeup aftercare situation. I was like, that's the story. Like, give people that experience in every aspect and they'll be hooked with you forever. And I think that's just one of the reasons why sometimes you get disappointed when you see a brand in one light and then you see them somewhere else and you're like, oh, that's not what I was expecting.
And it's so impactful, isn't it, when that happens?
Honestly,
Yeah,
I think as a business owner, you kind of underestimate how important it is.
yeah.
But when you see the value in it, and I think social media has definitely tipped that on its head now. People are now starting to see the value of having a consistent brand that tells a really strong message that people can get behind. You know, if anything, Apple was the instant movement that everyone needed. And if anyone looked at Apple, how they did their advertising when they first started, they didn't do any. They just did community groups. And that was how they got people on board. And literally putting that into the beauty industry, just it's really simple. You just get people on board that want to look and feel nice. And that's it. Really simple concept.
Oh, I love it. Keep it simple. I love it. So the last 3 years, has it been everything you hoped it would be?
Yes, and more. Definitely yes and more. It has been really surprising because I've come from such a hectic, if anyone's worked in marketing, you know, it's never 9 to 5, you never switch off. And this kind of fits that realm for me. You know, I own the company, I'm the CEO, so I never have a weekend, I never have a holiday, I never switch off. I'm on hand for anyone who wants to talk to me. But it has allowed me to have the balance that I required. As soon as I was able to bring on a team, Maddie, who started my branding department, bless her cotton socks. When she started, she really vamped that department and really took over and strong led it into a place where we wouldn't have thought a year ago we'd be here. Honestly, we just wouldn't think that we'd be in this position we're in. From just creating simple brochures to then creating she creates sort of these luxury products that you can have in store that kind of look like it's been made for you and only you. And, you know, when people get it, it's kind of this whole advent calendar experience when they open it. And giving a graduate that type of opportunity to have full range in a company to just do what they love and with no holds bar and just whatever you want to do, just do it and express yourself as much as possible. You don't get that a lot. And I think when I wanted to start my own business, I didn't want creativity to be stifled by the corporateness of trying to build a business. So I needed to build it in a way where you can be as flexible and as open and as free to express what you need to, but still in line with the vision of what the client needs.
My gosh, as you were talking, I was like, wow, wow, wow. It's so refreshing to hear a business owner say what you've just said, because ordinarily, well, I work with business owners and I have to sort of prize things out of their hand, delegate, for goodness sake, delegate, you know, grow a team and let go in order to expand. Whereas what you've just said is have it, take it, run with it. It is yours. And the trust that you put in to your team is obviously paying off. What has been your secret then with delegating, with the ability to put your trust in your team and to let them thrive the way that they obviously do?
I would never hire someone to do a job that I don't know how to do myself. I would never do it. For the simple fact of the matter is they need someone to ask questions to. They need someone to bounce ideas off. And I think when you start, the only way you can grow a business, the only way you can sort of hit those 10K, 20K, 50K months is by having a team. And you need to be able to have people in a position where you know exactly what they need to do and how they need to deliver it. And then you need to be surprised by how they then interpret how you taught them how to do something and how they do it now. We now have a social media team that we literally showed them how we did social media and they have taken it. And I'm just like, wow, perfect. I wouldn't have done it like that, but you do it so much better and so much quicker than me. And now we can take on 10 times the amount of clients we initially thought we could take on, just purely because they knew how to do it better. And I would have just stifled it if I said, no, do what I do it how I do best. No, the best thing to do is understand the role that you're giving someone, understand how to do it so you can support them if they ever need to, and let them have free range of it. Human beings can surprise you when it comes to being creative. And I think what social media is showing us today is that creativity pays off.
Oh, I love it. Allow yourself to be surprised. Oh my gosh, I love it. I think that is probably one of the, I've been doing Spotlight for a while now, and I think that is one of the biggest sort of aha moments that I've had. I love it, Sophie. I absolutely love it. What would you say makes you stand out in the industry? Bearing in mind, marketing is a jam-packed industry. Yeah. So yeah, what makes you stand out?
It's probably not my best quality, but I don't have any competition. I haven't come across anyone who can do the creative side as well as the functionality side. So even though my team are, I let them have free range, they have 3 days sitting on TikTok and Instagram. I don't know anyone who gets paid to do that, but my team do. And I say to them, have a look at what's out there, see what you can do with it. But I can then pull it back to, how can I get my clients to profit from this idea? How can I get my clients to generate more lead generation to their business from this idea? And I haven't come across anyone who thinks in the same way that I do and can physically still do the work. So I think in terms of understanding that you're your own competition is the only way to proceed in something. I think, especially in marketing where it is so saturated, I've never come across a marketer with my experience who's kind of worked in print on demand, who's done advertising on billboards, who's then done, Sky TV adverts, or done the Puma campaigns or the big Chanel campaigns, and then could turn around and say, well, I helped launch a clinic, I helped launch an academy who teaches people how to do it. I haven't found anyone who's kind of walked my path. So I think because I take on so much from Mel Robbins, who I kind of have as my online business coach in my head, we're best friends, Gary Vee, who kind of gives it to you straight. I think because I'm just gathering so much information consistently, there's nothing that anyone does that kind of rivals what I do, because no one can pull off what I do, no one can think like me. So in terms of standing out, we naturally stand out without having to do anything. I think if I tried to stand out, that's where the problems would fit into the business, because when you try, it just goes so wrong. I think if you just naturally enjoy what you do and keep doing it, you're fine.
Yeah. You've just made me think of that saying, be yourself, everyone else is taken.
Literally, that's it.
It's literally what it is. And Mel Robbins' 5-second rule has got me into all the best kind of trouble. Like, she's made me so brave and so adventurous with that 5-second rule of just count to 5, just get it, just do it, just don't think. It sounds like you surround yourself with mentors, not just physically, but also you find them out online as well, and absorb everything that is
because
on.
I'm just I think as the business owner, you consistently have to consume. And, it's really hard to consume when you're trying to have a word with your finance department, and then you've got HR talking to you, and there's so many people in your ear about different things. If you take your pulse off what is happening for your customers, your business really suffers. So I am continuously drowning myself in information. Someone said to me yesterday, what do you do for fun? I was like, is this sound really weird, but I listen to podcasts and build websites on Friday night. It's like the best time of my life. If I don't have any calls to do or any meetings, and my kids are off playing whatever they want to play, and I can just build a website, listen to a podcast for about 2 hours, that's it. That's the heaven. That's the experience for me. And I honestly believe the more you consume what your clients are experiencing and seeing what little things could possibly help them, the more your brain just fires off ideas without you even realizing.
It's so good. That's so good. I think the fact that doesn't surprise me you said that, considering the fact that whilst you were off on maternity leave, you learned to build websites. So the fact that I can't imagine that you slow down, that this is a passion for you. This isn't a job.
No. If it was a job, I need a raise. You really need a raise. It literally, you can't look at it like a job. And, you know, even when I was speaking to Maddie and it's her birthday next week, and I said, what are you doing for your birthday? And she said, I'm painting my banister, and then I might just do a couple of social media. And I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And she was like, oh, but I've seen this amazing thing that I want to get my hands onto. I want to make this amazing Christmas advent calendar for a clinic. And I was like, stop right there. She was like, but that's my fun time. It is my fun time. And I was like, it's really sad when we say that what we do for work is our fun time.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah, no, what a great position to be in. How do you rein your team in though? Because obviously, if you're obviously a high performer, you attract high performers, which is great. So, but how do you say it is your birthday? There is no work. I'm gift yourself time here. Even though work is fun time. How do you rein people in?
It's really challenging when you work with graduates because they are firing. They've done university and they kind of fire all these ideas and their brains are ticking all the time. And what I kind of have to teach them is that if you don't give your brain time to rest, you can't have great ideas. It might not look like I'm resting, but when I'm just watching Netflix, that's me resting.
Yeah.
When I'm watching TV, that's literally my downtime. If you hear me say I'm taking an hour out, I'm going for a walk, that's my rest time. And 9 out of 10, I'll probably push them into something. So here's some cinema tickets, go watch a film, or oh, here's a spa day. You know, Maddie hates spas, but here's, throwing acts and drinks in Birmingham. Go do that. And she'll be like, okay, perfect. Yeah. So sometimes you have to be the kind of overall person to turn around and go, this needs to be done, do it. I also have a teenage daughter who works in the company as well. And I often say to her, what should I give the team just as like a little mind break from what we're doing? And she's on the pulse for everything happening. So she's like, oh, I've just heard of this thing that you can go and watch in the park. This sounds amazing. Let's just take the team and let's do it. And I'm like, okay, perfect. Let's just do that then. But you kind of lead by example. So although I know that they probably think I'm working all the time and they're seeing all this stuff churn out, there are kind of gaps in my calendar that say taking a nap.
Brilliant.
And people laugh at it and I'm like, yeah, I don't sleep in the night, so it's great to have a nap in the middle of the day. And for my team to see that and see like the boss is taking a nap in the middle of the day sometimes, it hopefully will instill them. We work from home. Everything can be done in our time. We always deliver. The pressure is on yourself. Clients can't give us pressure because they don't know what to expect. We are to break the expectation, and you can only do that with rest.
It's so important, so important. And I love how honest you are, even reflecting that in the diary. So what would you say, Sophie, that you could attribute your growth to?
I think knowing what I want to do and how I want it. So I already knew what audience I wanted to work with. I knew what I wanted to offer, and that was it.
Yeah.
The growth can only be how many practitioners can I help? How many clinics can I help? And it becomes endless because so many people start their own businesses and start their own salons every single day. It's an endless industry to be in. Even with lockdown, they all then started selling products, which then they said, we need an e-commerce bit added to the website. Of course I'm going to do that. That was amazing for me to do. And I was like, right, now you need branding. Let's bring in Maddie. She's going to design all your packaging for you. So it's literally about knowing your niche. And I know that's such a horrible word in marketing to say niche, like saying to someone, stick to one industry and doing it well. It comes to a point where you don't spend a lot on advertising, because if 80% of your business is driven by referrals and 20% of it is just sheer luck, at the end of the day, then you just kind of always are growing, you always are moving, because the industry dictates your growth.
I think having that laser focus is really important, and I can see that you've got that. And you mentioned earlier about keeping your finger on the pulse, so experiencing and absorbing what your clients are experiencing, absorbing, and kind of, and using that when delivering. So being able to be laser focused of who you're delivering to gives you the ability to keep your finger on the pulse, like
literally
literally on the pulse.
We're in the beauty industry, so my team get the benefit of having free treatments offered to them, and I'm like, take it, go and experience that clinic, and then tell me what you didn't like about that whole experience. And when they start to tell me, well, when I got there wasn't anyone to meet me, or when they sent me the form it wasn't quite working, they start to tell me all the pocket of bad experiences that are easily corrected by what we offer in our services. So just by changing those few simple things, we can give our client, here's what you need to change, this is how we've done it, and now we can start to get positive feedback and start to reinforce that positive experience that people have when they come to your business. But you wouldn't know that unless you were a part of it.
Yeah, unless you experience it. No, exactly. You've given us a little bit of an insight into how you balance your diary, certainly being open and honest with your team. But I love this question because it gives me a different answer every time. How do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
I don't. The reality is I don't. If I was to actually sit down and write down what I did, it makes no physical sense. My son plays for 2 different football teams and does 4 days worth of training every week. My daughter is about to start university and is packing up to leave. So I have 2 children, almost to be 1 at home, plus a company to run. I live in the middle of a village. We have 1 bus service in, 1 bus service out. I don't live in a busy city, and we often lose Wi-Fi. So I don't balance anything. I make sure that when I need to deliver, we deliver. So we set our deliverables to make them comfortable for everyone working on it. And I make sure that to do the work never feels like it's physical work. So me building a website, like I said to you, that's my Friday fun times. So I never feel like I've got to come in and do this. And if anyone in my team ever said, oh, I've got to do this, it's kind of like a red flag in my head. So there's no such thing as balance if you can't enjoy it, because everything is enjoyable. You just kind of tumble through.
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I could do it. It's just not possible.
Yeah. I think you're onto something here. Do you think when we try and sort of enforce this balance, like there must be a percentage either side, we must be able to do you think that just adds pressure?
Yeah, the extreme pressure, this whole thing when you start a business, if you speak to any woman, first thing they tell you is, I'm a part of the 5 a.m. club. And I'm like, great, what do you do at 5 a.m.? Oh, I just get up. I'm like, okay. And then what? And there's kind of like, oh, I just get up. And I'm like, oh, because by 5 a.m., this is what I've done. Because I've set it in myself that I need to get this done in order to do this, in order for me to do this and do this. But I think balance is all about understanding your limitations. The reason why I've been able to work in this way is because I was able to grow a good team. I was able to put someone in place that I could trust, that I didn't have to sit and think, have they done this? Have they done that? Micromanaging is never going to get you anywhere. And employing the right people to do the right jobs, I kind of crack a joke at my social media team and say, this is the sofa portion of your month where you just get to sit on the sofa and do work. But in actual reality, my new social media manager doesn't have to pay for childcare anymore. And that was a massive thing for her, because that was hard to balance, childcare and a physical office job. And now having this role where I say to her, as long as you get it done, as long as it's in the folder, I don't care when you do it, as long as it's done by that day, I don't really mind. And I see her working at 1 a.m. sometimes, and I'm like, oh, it's because you had this in the day and that in the day and that in the day, so now you have the time to do it. And I'm not going to turn around and be like, don't ever do that again. That's when you want to do it, and that's what works for you. So it works for me. I'm not going to take it away, but I definitely feel like if something isn't enjoyable and it's not something you want to do, that's when your business is absolutely off.
Yeah. Again, we'll go back to what we said earlier. Be yourself because everybody else is taken. So understand yourself. Yeah, so
And
important.
you're not superwoman. We're not superwoman. We can, I say to everyone, I have the same amount of hours in the day as everyone else. I just seem to cram a lot into it because I'm that crazy person that will do a client call in the car on the way to the school run. My son gets in the car and starts being my assistant until we get to the house. And then I'm switched into mum mode and I'm getting ready to go to football training up in Leamington. But, I have a great village around me. So his team, Norton Lindsay, when they took him on and they were working with him, they are completely flexible. If if I say I'm running late, I need help, they will come and do it. The mums at school, same again, they can come and do it. Or I can turn to Maddie and go, look, I've got to do this website meeting, but I can't physically be on the meeting. You're just going to hear my voice. I need you to lead it. Having people in place to help you balance everything definitely works.
It takes a village, right? And that's including both personal and work. I love it. What would you say has been your biggest learning so far?
I think my biggest learning was myself.
Ooh.
My biggest learning was to understand that in my change, I have to be present to experience it and I have to be happy with it. So the biggest learning for me was knowing that things were going to change around me. I can't control the change, but I can minimize any damage to anyone else. So, understanding that sometimes mommy won't be home because she is in a meeting was something of a damage control I had to put in place to my children. So having them involved in the business to understand why she's not at home made it really easy. And I think that was the biggest shift from working for someone to working for myself. Working for someone, I had someone to blame and say to my kids, oh, it's not my fault. This person's done it to me. They've told me I've got to be here. There's nothing I can do about it. To now being, my own boss, I can turn around and say, well, this is why I have to do it. And being honest with myself to know, is this change productive and is it positive and does it help? If it doesn't do any of those things, then it's not worth doing. And being okay, if a project comes up and it's a lot of money, being okay to say, you know what, it's not for me.
Wow, that's so powerful. That is so powerful. You've just said two words, though, that a lot of business owners would never put in the same sentence, which is happy with change. It's like, how did you get to that point? What was it that just made you think, do you know what? This is what I'm going to do.
I think I just enjoy what I do and I try not to divert from that path. So I know that I love building websites. I love making content. I love making videos. But if one was to prioritize, websites does. So I still needed someone to do the other things for me because that's what people were paying me to do.
Okay.
But it was about making sure that I was happy to not divert myself away from anything that didn't make me feel comfortable. Because I know if I was still doing the same things I started doing when I first started the business, I probably wouldn't be here now. So I needed to have people in place in order to grow and accepting that they will do it differently, but still make me feel happy. And I still get that serotonin rush when I see something like Maddie did these amazing box fillers that were featured out in a Barcelona event recently, and they were all over social media. And I was just like, it was just a tiny idea we had. And I just gave her the nugget of just a little nugget of an idea, and she just kind of ran with it. And it was kind of me going, I'm happy to release the reins and I know it's going to be positive. So it comes with time. It's horrible in the first year because you don't like it and you can feel things changing around you and you're not used to it. But everyone always says it's just over that hill. Once you get over that hill, you're just rolling down. You're just literally rolling down and it's happy. Why not?
It's all easy from there. It's all easy from there, but with the understanding that it is an uphill journey.
Always.
So important to remember. I always love to end with this question, which is quite a big question for you and then and any advice, which is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And do you have any words of advice for other business owners who are looking to grow their business?
Okay. Where do I see myself in 5 years? I definitely see myself heading about 4 more teams across the world, definitely international, because there aren't enough agencies to help in our industry in the other terrains. We are starting in the US this year. Will be in Australia next year, and hopefully we can get to Dubai by the end of Q3 next year. So the whole idea is that I take the business model we have here and replicate it everywhere else, because we've nurtured it, we know what we're doing, we know it works. It's just about setting it up in different places and hoping that we put the right people in the right position to do so, because from there it's just pure growth. So now that we have that down, that's what we do. And that's the advice I would give to any business owner, whether you're starting out, whether you only have 1 client, 2 clients, or 100 clients. Perfect what you do and do it well, so that other people talk about it for you.
Word of mouth is the strongest form of marketing, they say.
Literally.
So
yeah, it's the biggest. Done marketing for over 15 years now, and if anyone asks me what's the best form of marketing, is it social media, is it paid ads? Absolutely not. Word of mouth. 80% of my business is based upon word of mouth.
So powerful. You are an absolute force of nature. I am so excited for your next 5 years. Dubai, end of Q3 next year, US, Australia, and the world, I have no doubt. Sophie, I have had the most fun chatting to you. And you're in Leamington, I'm in Leamington. We need to meet up for a coffee. It's just, please, definitely, you're the coolest lady ever. But for now, I will say thank you very much for your advice and insights. So much there will resonate with business owners that are in their 3 years, that are thinking of starting a business, or even at their 10 years. So there's lots of advice there. So I can't wait to share it. But for now, I shall say thank you and goodbye. Thank you, Sophie.
For having me. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.